The wasp knife represents tactical weaponry taken to a horrifying extreme. This specialized blade contains a compressed gas cartridge in its handle that, when activated during penetration, injects freezing gas directly into the wound cavity. The rapid expansion creates catastrophic internal pressure, causing massive tissue damage far beyond the knife's entry point. Originally developed for underwater defense against sharks, the weapon's ability to instantly incapacitate through internal trauma made it controversial among law enforcement and military communities. The knife's design prioritizes stopping power over survival, creating wounds that are nearly impossible to treat effectively, even with immediate medical attention. The 27th Amendment, preventing Congress from voting themselves immediate pay raises, holds the record for the longest ratification process in constitutional history. Proposed in 1789 alongside the Bill of Rights, it was forgotten for nearly 2 centuries until University of Texas student Gregory Watson wrote a paper about it in 1982, receiving only a C grade. Watson launched a grassroots campaign, convincing state legislatures to ratify the Dormant Amendment. In 1992, it officially became part of the Constitution, completing a 203-year journey from proposal to law. Watson's persistence transformed a forgotten homework assignment into constitutional history. During the height of Cold War paranoia, the U.S. Air Force developed Project A-119, a classified plan to detonate a nuclear weapon on the moon's surface. The goal was creating a massive, visible explosion that would demonstrate American nuclear superiority to the Soviet Union and restore national confidence after the Sputnik launch shocked the world. Scientists calculated the optimal detonation point near the lunar terminator to maximize the explosion's visibility from Earth. However, the plan was ultimately abandoned due to concerns about public backlash and potential contamination of future lunar missions. The project remained classified for decades, revealing the extreme lengths considered during the space race. The telemonstrum, discovered in Illinois coal deposits, represents one of paleontology's greatest mysteries. This 300-million-year-old creature possessed a bizarre combination of features: a flexible proboscis ending in a toothed claw, eyes mounted on stalks, and a segmented body with no clear anatomical parallels to any known animal group. Scientists have classified it as everything from a mollusk to a vertebrate to an entirely extinct phylum with no living relatives. Its alien appearance suggests evolutionary experimentation gone wrong, representing a biological dead end that challenges our understanding of life's development on Earth. The creature remains taxonomically homeless in the Tree of Life. A 6.2-kilogram plutonium sphere, originally intended for the third atomic bomb against Japan, became known as the Demon Core after killing 2 Los Alamos scientists in separate criticality accidents. Harry Daghlian accidentally dropped a tungsten carbide brick onto the core in 1945, while Louis Slotin's screwdriver slipped during a demonstration in 1946, allowing 2 beryllium hemispheres to close around the plutonium. Both men received lethal radiation doses, dying agonizing deaths over weeks as their bodies deteriorated from radiation poisoning. The cursed plutonium was eventually melted down and reused in other nuclear weapons, ending its deadly streak. In 1897, West Virginia, Zona Heaster's sudden death was attributed to childbirth complications until her mother claimed the deceased visited her as a ghost. According to Mary Heaster, her daughter's spirit appeared nightly, revealing that her husband, Erasmus Shue, had strangled her in a jealous rage, breaking her neck and repositioning her head to hide the injury. The incredible testimony convinced authorities to exhume the body, where examination revealed a broken neck and crushed windpipe. Shue was arrested, tried, and convicted of murder, making this the only known case where spectral testimony contributed to a murder conviction in American legal history. The Bender family operated a sinister inn in the 1870s in Kansas, perfecting a horrifying murder method. They seated unsuspecting travelers at their dinner table with backs facing a canvas curtain, behind which a family member waited with a sledgehammer. One swift blow to the skull killed the victim instantly, after which they robbed the body and buried it in their orchard. Investigators later discovered at least 11 bodies buried on the property, though the true count may never be known. When authorities closed in, the entire family vanished without a trace, abandoning their blood-soaked inn. Their fate remains unknown, making them America's most elusive serial killer family. Two East German families risked everything in 1979, constructing a homemade hot air balloon from bed sheets and curtains to escape communist rule. Flying through freezing temperatures at 8,000 feet to avoid Soviet radar, their makeshift aircraft nearly stalled multiple times during the harrowing night journey. The balloon's propane heating system, cobbled together from camping equipment, could have exploded at any moment. Ice formed on the basket as they drifted silently through the darkness, their children shivering beneath thin blankets. After 8 hours of terror, they crash-landed in West Germany, achieving freedom through one of history's most desperate and dangerous escape attempts. In the 19th century Edinburgh, the demand for fresh cadavers led William Burke and William Hare to abandon grave robbing for a more efficient method: murder. They killed at least 16 people, selling their bodies to anatomist Dr. Robert Knox for medical dissection. Their victims were often invited for drinks, then suffocated to avoid damaging the valuable corpses. After their capture, Burke was executed and ironically became a dissection subject himself. His skeleton remains on display at Edinburgh Medical School, while burking entered the dictionary as a term for suffocation murder. The scandal exposed the dark underbelly of medical education's body shortage. Shakespeare's Macbeth has earned its reputation as the most cursed play in theatrical history through centuries of documented disasters, deaths, and supernatural occurrences. The superstition surrounding its title runs so deep that actors refuse to speak Macbeth inside any theater, referring to it only as the Scottish play, to avoid invoking its deadly curse. The play's witches reportedly recite actual incantations from 17th century occult practices, leading many to believe Shakespeare incorporated genuine dark magic into the script. Historical records document an unusually high number of injuries, deaths, and catastrophic accidents during Macbeth productions, from lead actors dying during performances to entire theaters burning down. During its first performance, the boy playing Lady Macbeth died of fever, and Shakespeare himself had to take the role. Modern productions continue reporting unexplained accidents, electrical failures, and cast injuries at rates far exceeding other plays, perpetuating the belief that some malevolent force is attached to the Scottish king's bloody tale. The death of Brandon Lee during The Crow's production marked the beginning of an alleged curse that plagued everyone associated with the film. Lee was killed when a prop gun, supposedly loaded with blanks, fired a real bullet that had been lodged in the barrel from a previous scene. But his death was only the beginning of a series of catastrophic incidents that terrorized the cast and crew. A construction worker was electrocuted and severely burned by power lines. A disgruntled special effects technician drove his car through the studio's plaster shop, causing thousands in damage, and a crew member was accidentally driven through with a screwdriver during set construction. Strange accidents, equipment failures, and unexplained injuries continued throughout production. Many crew members quit, refusing to work on what they believed was a genuinely cursed set. The film's dark themes of resurrection and revenge seemed to bleed into reality, creating an atmosphere of genuine terror among those trying to complete Lee's final performance. J.M. Barrie's beloved tale of eternal childhood emerges from profound personal tragedy and psychological darkness. The inspiration for The Boy Who Never Grows Up came from Barrie's older brother David, who died in a skating accident at age 13, devastating their mother Margaret. She found macabre comfort in the idea that David would remain forever young, never aging beyond his boyish perfection. Barrie, desperate for his mother's attention, began mimicking David's mannerisms and even wearing his clothes, attempting to become a replacement for the dead child. This obsession with eternal youth and the rejection of adult mortality permeates Peter Pan, where children who refuse to grow up inhabit a realm between life and death. Barrie donated all Peter Pan royalties to Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children, where countless sick children face their own battles with mortality, creating an eerie connection between fictional eternal youth and real childhood suffering. The remote Hessdalen Valley in Norway has become a hotbed of unexplained aerial phenomena that has baffled scientists for over 4 decades. Residents regularly witness luminous orbs of various colors floating through the valley, performing impossible maneuvers including instant acceleration, perfect hovering, and spontaneous splitting into multiple lights. These manifestations occur several times per week, lasting from seconds to hours. In 1998, scientists established Project Hessdalen, installing automated monitoring stations with cameras, magnetometers, and radar equipment. The data collected confirms the light's physical reality. They appear on radar, emit radio frequencies, and create measurable electromagnetic disturbances. Yet their origin remains completely unknown. Theories range from piezoelectric effects in the valley's quartz-rich geology to plasma formations caused by underground chemical reactions. The light's seemingly intelligent behavior and the complete absence of conventional explanations continue to challenge our understanding of physics and natural phenomena. On August 15, 1977, Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope detected a signal so extraordinary that astronomer Jerry Eman scribbled "Wow" beside its alphanumeric designation 6EQUJ5, creating one of astronomy's most tantalizing mysteries. The signal lasted exactly 72 seconds, transmitted at 1420 megahertz, the precise frequency hydrogen atoms emit when their electrons flip spin states. This frequency choice suggests deliberate transmission, as any intelligent civilization would recognize its universal significance. The signal's intensity was 30 times stronger than typical cosmic background radiation, and its narrow bandwidth indicated an artificial origin rather than natural phenomena. Despite decades of searching the same coordinates in Sagittarius and analyzing similar frequencies, the signal has never repeated. The possibility that humanity briefly eavesdropped on an alien transmission, only to lose contact forever, continues to haunt astronomers and fuel speculation about our cosmic solitude. Approximately 2% of the global population is tormented by an unexplained auditory phenomenon known as the hum, a persistent, low-frequency droning sound that seems to emanate from nowhere. Victims describe it as resembling a distant diesel engine or electrical transformer, but no source can ever be identified. The sound typically occurs at night, making sleep impossible and driving sufferers to psychological extremes. Some have lined their homes with soundproofing materials, moved to remote locations, or even considered suicide to escape the relentless noise. Despite extensive scientific investigation involving seismologists, acousticians, and medical researchers, no consensus exists on its origin. Theories range from underground geological activity and military experiments to mass hysteria and tinnitus variants. The Windsor hum in Canada and Taos hum in New Mexico represent some of the most documented cases, yet the mystery deepens with each failed attempt at explanation. In the final chaotic hours of January 20th, 2021, a presidential pardon for Joe Exotic sat completed on Donald Trump's desk in the Oval Office. The paperwork had been prepared by White House staff after intense lobbying by the Tiger King's legal team and supporters, who had convinced several administration officials that Exotic was wrongfully convicted. The pardon would have freed the eccentric zoo owner from his 22-year sentence for hiring a hitman to kill animal rights activist Carol Baskin, and numerous wildlife violations. As moving trucks waited outside and Trump's presidency entered its final minutes, he held the power to transform the Netflix star's fate with a single signature. However, in an unexpected last-minute decision that shocked his own staff, Trump chose not to sign the document, leaving Joe Exotic to serve his sentence and crushing his supporters' hopes. In January 1943, the U.S. government implemented one of the most bizarre wartime restrictions in history by banning pre-sliced bread nationwide. The Office of Price Administration claimed the measure would conserve wax paper used for wrapping, steel needed for industrial slicing machines, and reduce bread waste since sliced loaves staled faster than whole ones. However, the ban created unexpected chaos as Americans struggled to cut uniform slices at home, leading to increased bread waste rather than conservation. Bakeries were forced to modify their entire production systems, and consumers hoarded sliced bread before the ban took effect. The public outcry was so intense that newspapers declared the ban more unpopular than gas rationing. After just 2 months of nationwide frustration and ridicule, officials quietly reversed the decision, admitting that the conservation benefits were negligible compared to the social disruption caused. The Cadaver Synod of 897 AD represents one of history's most macabre judicial proceedings. Pope Stephen VI, driven by political hatred and possible madness, ordered the 9-month-old corpse of Pope Formosus to be exhumed from its tomb. The decomposing body was dressed in full papal vestments, propped up on a throne, and assigned a deacon to speak for the silent defendant. During the grotesque trial, Stephen VI screamed accusations at the rotting corpse, charging it with perjury and illegally ascending to the papacy. After being found guilty, the papal vestments were torn from the corpse. The 3 fingers used for papal blessings were hacked off with an axe, and the mutilated remains were dragged through Rome's streets before being hurled into the Tiber River. The trial sparked riots that led to Stephen VI's own death shortly after. The reef stonefish delivers what marine biologists consider the most excruciating pain known to science. Its 13 dorsal spines inject a cocktail of neurotoxins that causes immediate, overwhelming agony so intense that victims often go into shock or lose consciousness. The pain is described as feeling like molten metal being injected directly into the bloodstream, with waves of torment that can last for days, even with treatment. The venom attacks nerve endings while simultaneously breaking down tissue at the cellular level, causing flesh to literally rot away from the injection site. Victims have been known to beg for amputation to escape the pain. Without immediate treatment with antivenom, the toxins can cause respiratory failure, cardiac arrest, and death within hours, making each encounter with this camouflaged predator potentially fatal. Black kites have weaponized fire in a behavior that seems ripped from mythology. These intelligent raptors deliberately seek out active wildfire fronts, where they grasp burning sticks with their talons and carry them to unburned grasslands. By dropping these firebrands strategically, they create new blazes that flush terrified small mammals and insects into the open, making them easy prey. This pyromaniacal hunting strategy has been documented across multiple continents, with some kites working in coordinated groups to spread fires more efficiently. Aboriginal Australians have known of this behavior for millennia, incorporating fire-spreading birds into their cultural stories. The birds essentially become arsonists of the animal kingdom, turning entire ecosystems into their personal hunting grounds through calculated destruction. Turritopsis doherni has achieved what humans have long sought but feared, true biological immortality. When facing death from starvation, physical trauma, disease, or old age, this jellyfish performs cellular alchemy by reversing its aging process entirely. Its adult medusa form dissolves its own tissues and transforms back into a juvenile polyp, essentially rewinding its biological clock to zero. This process, called transdifferentiation, allows the same individual jellyfish to potentially live forever, cycling through life and death indefinitely. Scientists theorize that without predation or disease, a single Turritopsis doherni could witness the rise and fall of entire civilizations. The implications for understanding aging and mortality continue to haunt researchers seeking to unlock the secrets of eternal life. Ophiocordyceps unilateralis demonstrates nature's most sinister form of mind control. This parasitic fungus infiltrates carpenter ants through spores, gradually consuming the ant's soft tissues while leaving essential organs intact to keep the host alive. The fungus hijacks the ant's nervous system, compelling it to abandon its colony and climb precisely 25 centimeters above ground level. At this optimal height for spore dispersal, the infected ant clamps its mandibles onto a leaf vein in an irreversible death grip called a thanatosis. Within days, a grotesque fruiting body erupts from the ant's head like a macabre antenna, releasing thousands of spores onto unsuspecting ants below. The entire process transforms the ant into a biological weapon against its own species.